Hello, class. Happy Monday or Tuesday. I hope you had a good weekend or a good Monday at school. Today, we're going to go over questionable consideration. Now, for those of you who are watching the video, which everyone in the class should be, um, I am going to throw in an extra credit question just somewhere randomly in the video. When you hear the question and you have the answer, just stick it on the bottom of your 8-2 reteach assignment. If you get these turned in for virtual day Mondays, if you get these turned in before class on Tuesday, and then virtual day Tuesday, if you get these turned in before class on Wednesday, I'll give you a couple of extra credit points. So we'll just make sure that you're watching the videos and you're following along and doing what high school students should be doing. So let's go ahead and get into the presentation, and we will go from there. So questionable consideration. So the first thing we're going to look at is illusory promises. These promises are contracts that contain a clause that allows you to escape the legal obligations. Typically contains a clause for a person making the contract to have no obligation to perform as stated. There's two that we look at. So the first one, move this up here so you guys can see. So the first one we look at is a termination clause. So this is added in business contracts in case business circumstances change. So a lot of times you'll see somewhere in a contract, either party can cancel in 30 days with written notice. A lot of the times you'll have those on like lease agreements for businesses or other things like that. Basically, you just need to give them some time before you cancel so you guys can kind of work out the details or move on. The other thing would be an output contract. So, an output contract is when a buyer agrees to purchase all the particular producer's productions. Um, this contract can be terminated when one party elects to stop. The problem is the courts recognize that these contracts are supported by consideration. So when courts recognize that no business should be required to go bankrupt by staying in an output contract, they'll often void the contract when it becomes unprofitable for either party. Next thing we're going to look at is existing duty. So, existing duty is basically just that, a duty that you already have to do something. So there's two different kinds. We have an existing public duty. An existing public duty is where public servants make promises to perform various duties, but the duties are part of their job. So you can look at this like police officers, they don't get extra money when they catch a criminal, right? Their job is to catch criminals. Same for teachers. So if one of you guys were struggling in my class and you needed extra help, I personally could not charge you to tutor you because you're a current student in a current subject. So my tutoring would be just me teaching. If any of you need extra help in the class, you can always reach me. We can hang out before school, after school, and go over things too. So you always have that option. Um, Next would be the existing private duty. This is a contract that creates duty. This duty cannot be the base of consideration for a different contract. So, say there's a huge storm that came in and my roof got damaged and I had to repair my roof. All right. So, if I hire a contractor to repair the roof of my house, but then my roof of my business got blown off and I had to hire another person. I couldn't hold the contractor the same terms as fixing my house as I would for my business, right? It would be two separate contracts. So you can't have that. Now we're going to look at debt. Okay. Now, hopefully, none of you guys, as high school students, have had to deal with debt, but it's something that once you get into college or you get out in your careers, um, creditors like credit card companies and things like that really start to kind of hit you, and you fall behind and get in a lot of trouble. So there's two different types of debt. There's liquidated debt and unliquidated. So let's kind of take a look at the difference between the two. So liquidated debts are parties agree that a debt exists and they agree on the amount. So when we look at debt, there's two different people we need to look at: the creditor, which is the person who the debt is owed, and then the debtor is a person who owes money to a creditor. As far as liquidated debt goes, there's no consideration if the debt is liquidated, right? You guys both agree on the amount, you both agree that it exists, everything is good. Um, Now, there are certain times with liquidated debt where a debtor will settle a claim by paying less than the full amount. When this happens, additional consideration is given. So, for this, there must be a mutual agreement between the creditor and the debtor to do so. An example of this would be, say you have $20,000 in debt, a credit card debt, and you really got behind, you're in a lot of trouble. Um, you know it exists, you both agree it exists, but you need help. So sometimes the creditor will receive an early payoff, and in return, the debtor will pay much less money than the full amount owed. It's better for the creditor to get more money up front and try to get it paid off versus waiting for many years for the debtor to pay off all that money. I'll kind of look at why here in a second, too. So, unliquidated debt is where parties have a dispute on how much is owed. All right. So, in this, we look at accord and satisfaction. So, a payment offered in a full settlement by a debtor and accepted by a creditor settles the claim. So, the accord part is the new agreement. So, the accord would be the settlement. The satisfaction is actually the act of paying. So, a lot of these times we'll see it end up in court. So, if a tort occurs, liability is unliquidated because the extent of the damage is uncertain, right? We just learned that. We know there's something owed, we just don't agree on the amount. The injured party can discharge the other party from a liability in return for money. So, an example of this would be if I were driving my car, minding my own business, got hit by a drunk driver. All right. I'm paralyzed. I'm in the hospital. It hurts my family. It hurts my job. It hurts everything. Right. So I take this person to court. We know there's a debt that needs to be paid. We can't agree how much. The court settles it. Once that settlement happens, or I settle with them, or the court gives me money, I can't take them back to court, or I can't go back to court to get more. That settlement would be the debt paid. That'd be the accord and satisfaction. Now it's time for the extra credit question. So if you're listening, I have two dogs. I will try to call them in here, but I don't know if I don't know if they will. Let's try real quick. Puppies, come here. Oh, they're so excited. They're so excited to see you guys. Come here. You guys want to be in my class? Actually, I have two dogs. This is Winter. Lucky, come here. This is Lucky. So Winter and Lucky, they're both Wheaten Terriers. They are both very, very hyper puppies. They are slightly better behaved than my children. Definitely furrier. Winter might be cuter than a couple of my kids. I don't know. What's up, baby? What's up? Can you say hi to my class? So Winter and Lucky just minds his own business. He isn't that happy. So for one extra credit point, the names of my dogs are Winter and Lucky. Winter like the season, Lucky like the Shamrocks, right? So if you put those two names on the bottom of your 8-2 assignment, I'll give you an extra credit point. It might not be much, but they'll add up because every video I do from now on is going to have something like that. So one extra credit point, you watch the video, put the name on the 8-2. Again, this has to be done if you are watching this video on Monday. It has to be done before class Tuesday. If you're watching it Tuesday, it has to be done before class on Wednesday. All right, there you go. Lucky Winter, bottom of your 8-2 reteach assignment. All right, moving on. Composition with creditors. So sometimes a group of creditors will come together to accept less in return from the debtor in return for not filing for bankruptcy. So a lot of times you'll see like these commercials for national debt relief or companies like that, Freedom Debt Relief. I don't know all of them, but you'll see these commercials. It's basically just like debt consolidation, right? So what these companies do is they take all of your debt, they put it all together, then they start reaching out to your creditors, credit card companies, um, other things that you might owe. Obviously, your house payment is not going to work. Your car payment is not going to work. You're just going to lose your house and car if that's the case. But they'll get with these companies and they will see what they can do to lessen the load that you're paying, to see if you can pay less um, than you owe. So a lot of these creditors, you might think like, why would they do that? Well, they know they're going to get the money. Why don't they just accept? Well, there's bankruptcy, right? So if you file for bankruptcy, you're going to pay a lot more. If you file for Chapter 7, you don't have to pay anything, right? All that money just goes away. That hurts your credit score and kills your credit score, and it's on your credit report for 10 years, but all that debt vanishes. Um, and same with Chapter 11. You would pay a lot less filing for Chapter 11 than you would working with the creditors beforehand. So a lot of times the creditors will work together. They will take less in return for you not filing for bankruptcy. And that is what composition with creditors is. Again, I mean, even with composition with creditors, it's still going to hurt. I mean, it's going to show up on your credit report that you're paying, but you settled on a deal. So it's going to be, it's going to hurt your credit report. But I mean, still, it's not going to hurt as much as bankruptcy. And you're still doing the right thing by trying to pay off what you can. Last slide, and then we are done. So we're going to look at past consideration and mutual gifts. Okay. So past consideration is an act, a consideration that has already been performed, cannot serve as consideration for a later promise. Um, Basically, what this means is if something already happened, um, you're not going to be accountable for going back and paying for it if that promise wasn't made. So an example, it would be like if a neighbor came over, like I hurt my arm or something, but I was in the middle of painting my living room, and my neighbor came and painted the living room for me. Um, then after it was done, I promised to pay him, I don't know, $100 in return. My payment would not be enforceable in court since he painted my living room before anything was promised. Right. So he came in and said, "Hey, you know what? You're hurt. I'll paint your living room for you." If I promise to pay him after the fact, I can do that. I probably would do that if that were the case. But if I promise and then I don't do it, too bad. It's past consideration. You did it before anything was promised. I don't have to pay you. Same with kind of mutual gifts. So a mutual gift would be something of value that is given from one party to another without demanding anything in return. So something of value is not consideration for anything later promised or provided. So it'd be similar. So say your uncle gives you a car for your 16th birthday, right? What a cool uncle. It'd be a really cool gift. You love it. You're happy. You're like, oh my God, this is such an expensive gift. I have to pay you something. I have to pay you, right? Well, your promise to pay him something can't be enforced since he gave you the car for a gift. So you're set, right? You're still going to probably have to pay gas on it and insurance, but you don't have to pay for the car. So it's worth it, right? And that is it for today. You have your 8-2 reteach. There's a video I put on there to kind of look more into past consideration and mutual gifts. I would watch it. I think it's going to help you for the test. Sometimes people have issues separating the two or remembering things. And since we're not in class to do role plays on these things, it will help you kind of get stuck in your head. And I think that is really important. Especially since we have a test coming up next week, next Wednesday or Thursday, you're in class. So enjoy the rest of your day. I hope your other classes are going well. If you have any questions, shoot me a remind message, send me a message on Canvas, email me, whatever. I will be happy to help you out. then I will see you guys in class on either Wednesday for our big judge meeting or Thursday, which we'll watch it and kind of discuss it in class. So, again, have a good day, and I will see you guys soon.